Ark Invest is one of the top investment management companies in the world, and they now have a whopping $74 billion of assets under management. Now, Cathie Wood does get a bit of flack about having such a young investment team. However, she says that it's one of the company's biggest assets. As we know, as we do get older, we do get a bit more stuck in our ways, and the younger team will be more open to things like innovation, less likely to be trapped by dogma, and they will bring some fresh ideas and energy into the company. And last week, Ark Invest had their monthly meeting where they discussed what was going on in the crypto market, where they think the crypto market is headed, and also their thoughts on Ethereum and DeFi. And so in this video, I'm going to be sharing the insights from the Ark Invest team, as it's always good to plug in to see how the professional analysts are looking at the market. So in this video, we'll be listening in to the Ark Invest team and getting their insights on the big crypto crash, and are they now bullish or bearish? Their thoughts on Ethereum and DeFi, why crypto is set to grow 5 times over the next 5 years, and then I'll finish up with some of the biggest crypto news that's happened over the last week. And there was a bit of a controversial investment made by Warren Buffett. More on that later. As always, if you do find anything useful in the video, drop a like, always appreciated. Okay, so the crypto market is still getting over one of its biggest weekly crashes in its history. So are the team at Ark Invest concerned, or is this a buying opportunity? First up, we have Yacine El-Mandra, and he is one of Ark Invest's top crypto analysts. Check it out.
Sure. So, I mean, in general, it's helpful to provide some context as to how we approach these markets. If you've been following Ark for a while, you know that we're very long-term focused and we have 5-year time horizons, but that we do thrive on short-term volatility, and we try to be that liquidity provider. So I think that, taking that into context, and when you look at Bitcoin's performance over the last year, it's still up, tenfold since March of 2020. And when you look at some of the kind of recent news around just institutional adoption, and then obviously some of the skepticism following that institutional adoption, some of the volatility that we're seeing, I think, is just a natural byproduct of all eyes on this market, and that some of the more recent entrants might have weaker hands. From a fundamentals basis, I think we've never been, more have had higher conviction than to date. When you kind of look at general holding behavior, when you look at some of the interesting projects that are being built, there was a recent kind of Bitcoin Miami conference where very few people actually spoke about the price. It was all just, here's what we're building and here's what we plan to deploy in the next 12 months. And so when we're looking at this from a fundamentals basis, we've never had higher conviction than we have today. With regard to whether this changes our timeline, again, if you think about this 5 years out or in 5-year time horizons, I think these healthy corrections are a natural part of this asset class specifically. When you look at the opportunity, I think being between $5 to $10 trillion over the next 5 years, the recent price performance that we've seen is not against those longer term prospects. So we remain high conviction in Bitcoin, in the crypto markets, and we also think that this is just a natural, healthy correction and consistent with previous market cycles.
So the key points for me were, as Ark Invest work from 5-year time horizons, this really helps keep things into perspective. From a fundamentals point of view, Yacine said they have never had a higher conviction about Bitcoin and crypto than they do today. And they see the market going to 5 to 10 trillion over the next 5 years. So this means the crypto market has to grow 5 times from here. So I think it's fair to say that Ark Invest are clearly crypto bulls. And they refer to the recent crypto crash as a healthy natural correction. Okay, next up we have Ark analyst Frank Downing, speaking on how the recent events have affected Ethereum and DeFi. Take a look.
Yeah, thanks for the introduction, Yacine. The story with Ethereum, and as Red mentioned, we introed this in our last call, but has really been building over the past year as we see increasing adoption of applications built on the Ethereum blockchain. These are largely centered around decentralized finance and NFTs. In the decentralized finance space, you can think of exchanges, lending markets, derivative and synthetic asset products. All of these that operate in the traditional financial system by centralized parties are now being built and deployed and actively adopted on Ethereum, running as code rather than as by a centralized party. So you can start to imagine some of the efficiencies that are gained there and also the open access. And so what we've seen, if you look at some of the on-chain metrics, is that the active users on Ethereum have continued to rise, now sitting weekly active users around 3 million at a really fast rate, as well as the total transaction fees paid out on the network to miners, which we think is a signal for the demand of the network, also continues to be at all-time highs. These are really strong signals for the value that Ethereum's providing. And just looking at, for example, the decentralized exchange volume, which just hit a all-time peak with the recent volatility in May of last month, we continue to be really excited and looking closely at this. Just to name a few more things, there's also some imminent network upgrades to the Ethereum protocol that are coming just next month that will change the way that some of those fees are distributed and incorporating a deflationary pressure on the Ethereum supply, which we're also really looking forward to. Of course, there's been a lot of volatility recently. And one of the things that's actually impressed us, one, there's the general shakeout of the over-exuberance that could have been in the market, but two, with many assets that are issued on Ethereum falling 30, 40, 50%. We saw, of course, many liquidations in accounts that may have been over leveraged, but the decentralized finance ecosystem actually held up really well. The automated market makers did exactly what they were supposed to do. The stable coins held their peg. And this is something that was really a good test and something that we were impressed to see really withstand the test of this cycle. And so we're continuing to watch these metrics and really looking forward to some of the things that are coming up on Ethereum for those reasons.
So again, very positive, and he pointed out how Ethereum and DeFi was able to handle the extreme volatility and liquidations that happened during this last crash. And did you see that DeFi users chart? Talk about exponential growth. So that was the recent update from the Ark Invest team. However, there has been some pretty big crypto news that has happened throughout the week. So to finish up, here are my top picks for the week. Check it out. Now, unless you have been living under a rock, you will have heard that El Salvador was the first country to adopt Bitcoin as a legal currency. However, did you know that he then went on to instruct to build a Bitcoin mining facility at the top of a volcano? This will be 100% clean, 100% renewable, and it reminds me a little bit like a Bond movie. We'll now start mining Bitcoin at the top of my volcano. So this is how many people are searching for El Salvador real estate on Google. And as you can see, for many years it was pretty flat, and then look at what's just happened since the Bitcoin announcement. Next up, we have probably the world's most famous billionaire trader, Paul Tudor Jones, allocating 5% to Bitcoin. Now, it was only 1 year ago that he had allocated 1%. So he's increased his portfolio 5 times into Bitcoin. Then we had everybody's favorite crypto tweeter, Elon Musk, correcting someone saying that Tesla has only sold 10% of its holdings. And this was just to prove that they could sell without moving the market, and that when Bitcoin can prove it's got over 50% of clean energy usage, Tesla will resume allowing Bitcoin for transactions. Next up, probably Bitcoin's biggest bull, Michael Saylor, and he has issued bonds, so he's using debt to raise $500 million, all of which he's planning to put into Bitcoin. Not only that, He then came out and said he's also going to be issuing new stock for his company, MicroStrategy, to raise a further $1 billion, most of which will probably be going into Bitcoin. And finally, we have Brazil approves the first Bitcoin ETF in Latin America. And this will be going live in just 5 days from today. But what I find most interesting was which billionaire investor has made a secret purchase into this bank. None other than Bitcoin's biggest critic, Warren Buffett. And he has invested $500 million into Nubank, which will be offering this Bitcoin ETF. So the team at Ark Invest said that they've never been more bullish, and they're predicting the crypto market is going to be growing 5 to 10 times over the next 5 years. We had our first country making Bitcoin a formal currency, Paul Tudor Jones increasing his crypto position by 5 times, Michael Saylor going all in, raising debt and equity to acquire Bitcoin, and finally we have the next Bitcoin ETF going live in just 5 days from today. And which billionaire investor has decided to make a secret purchase of $500 million? None other than Bitcoin's biggest critic, Warren Buffett. Which I think is a great reminder to always watch what people do and not just what they say. So there you are guys, hope you enjoyed. In fact, just one favor to ask. If you did enjoy the video, then drop a like, and a big thank you to everyone who does. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, what are you doing? Click below and join us. I do have some great videos coming up that you don't want to miss. Okay, cheers guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.